If you're neurodivergent, here's some of the ways you might struggle with intuitive eating. I'm Tiffany North. I help people heal their relationship with food and body using attachment theory. All right, so I'm neurodivergent. Fortunately, I didn't find too many barriers for myself personally around intuitive eating, but I've had a lot of clients who have struggled in these ways. So I'm going to just talk about them and maybe talk a little bit about some of the things to do. So first one is I want to remind everyone that neurodivergent people have sensory specific needs. So sometimes you need more stimulation, sometimes you need less. This is why sometimes listening to a song can be really motivating to get started on a project. But if you are listening to a song and maybe you're trying to read a form or something, that could be distracting, for example. So when it comes to eating, we really want to make sure that our environment and our food choices are sensory specific. Maybe you need music or stimulation. Maybe you need to listen to a podcast or be, doing your best to eat with other people, for example. Or maybe you need a more quiet environment to be able to focus on eating. Notice what sensory needs you have in your environment and then also around food. Maybe you need foods that are spicy. Maybe you need foods that are not spicy. I had a client once that we discovered that eating like little appetizers, like at a party, was the best thing. That's what got them engaged and interested, and they ate plenty and enjoyed the variety. And so literally they needed to have kind of little Lunchables, they needed dipping sauce and little handheld foods. For me, I really need food that is the right temperature. So if it's warm, I want it almost piping hot. If it's cold, I want it cold. Like watermelon, I want my watermelon cold, or gotta have my ice water. That's not really making a sound. Yeah, I need ice water. So I bought a countertop nugget ice machine. Yeah. So sensory specific, what are the things that matter to you? For my ex, they wanted every component of a meal. They needed multiple components of a meal, not just one thing that they're eating, and often wanted milk with their meal or ketchup, something like that. So, but other people maybe hate sauce, right? Some people love a dipping sauce, some people can't stand it. So what are your sensory needs to make the meal satisfying, to make the environment welcoming, satisfying, and not too distracting, but engaging enough? For me, if I'm sitting completely silently still, the mindfulness practice people would recommend when you're eating and just chewing for a long time, I will get so bored, I'll just walk away and leave the food on the table and discover it later, right? So sensory specific. You might also find that you have a more narrow palate, and you might have shame about that. One of the things that's important is letting go of shame around that and just recognizing I'm very sensitive sensory wise, right? So I have these very narrow specific sensory needs. And then that can lead into access. Even if you don't have a narrow palate, you might have this, I don't have a word for it, but this thing that happens where you kind of need a very specific thing at a specific time and nothing else will do. In that case, we want to really look at our access. So do we have food scarcity? Is it difficult to get the foods that feel good? And if so, are there ways to access the foods that would work for us better? We can also look at access in terms of executive functioning, right? It can be really difficult to make a list and go to the store and make choices about, do I buy the one that's on sale or do I buy my favorite? So are there ways that I can streamline that, right? Maybe I have a friend that I go to WinCo with, and over here in WinCo stands for Washington, Idaho. I don't know what the N is for, and then Oregon. Northern California and Oregon. And it's a kind of a warehouse type deal. It's better prices, but you can't shop for those things online. You have to go into the store. It's kind of big with big lights, and you know how we feel about the big light, right? So, maybe you have a buddy that you go to WinCo with once a week or once every 2 weeks. Maybe you use Instacart. Maybe you have a partner that can help by doing the shopping. So are there ways that we can increase access to the foods that we know will work well for us? And then we want to look at, our overall executive functioning and remembering to eat and our ability to stop when we're hyper-focusing and actually eat something. Or can we get in the habit of eating before we maybe do these deep dives? Do we have enough executive functioning to prepare meals? These are all ways that we can get stuck in feeding on ourselves regularly and engaging in intuitive eating. When that hunger signal comes in, are we noticing it? And if we are, do we have the ability to actually execute and actually go be effective and access the food, or are there other barriers? So medication can be another one that can suppress appetite. Like the timing of medication, sometimes you have to take things on an empty stomach, and that can get really stressful because, oh, I forgot to eat and now I need to eat and I need to take my medication. Or if you take your medication before you eat, maybe it will suppress your appetite. So medication can sometimes get in the way as well. And in that case, yeah, we want to do our best to, if it's appetite suppressing, try to eat before or with your medication. If you need to take it on an empty stomach, just maybe notice, like, do I need to prioritize the medication every day? Do I need to prioritize eating first and then taking it later? Does the timing really matter? That your provider hopefully can help you with this to some degree. But often what I find with my neurodivergent folks is that taking medication and eating are both hard. And so it's sort of like looking at overall in the last few weeks, have I been doing better with eating or have I been doing better with taking my medication? And what's going to be the biggest priority? One of the tricks that I tend to use is whichever I choose to do first, which often is take the medication on the empty stomach. I'll set a timer. I'll force myself to immediately set a timer so that I know, okay, it's been a half an hour or an hour or however long, and now it's time to eat. And that really helps. Or I'll take the medication and then go try to like prepare a meal because I know, well, I have, 45 minutes or an hour until I can eat, but I could be getting the meal ready instead of the way my neurodivergent thinking works is, once the 30 minutes or hour is up, then I'll start preparing the meal. And then it's like, I'm so hungry by then that it makes it difficult to do that. Another one is boredom. We can get really bored really easily. And so for me personally, I try really hard to honor my cravings. If I'm craving Thai food or if I want, something unusual, I try to let myself do that when I can afford to, or when I have the time or the spoons. I also will try to anticipate that. Sometimes when I'm at the grocery store, I think, oh, I'm just going to like make this curry and that's it. And then later I want something snacky, right? So I do tend to go to like Trader Joe's or somewhere for snacks. Try to at least have some snacks on hand because that's what's realistic for me. That's part of how I'm going to access food at times. And then I also try to have like grab and go options. Like I keep those baby Belch cheeses in the fridge in case I'm like, I really need something or it's feeling difficult to access food. So yeah, so snacks might be the answer for you. These are some of the things that are difficult for neurodivergent folks with intuitive eating. Check out my other video. I talk a little bit about some of the hunger signal pieces not coming through sometimes. That can also be a piece of it. Or some people actually have an inability to feel the sensations in their body. And so then we would want to basically set up a structure that would support in that case. With secure attachment, rather than over here an anxious attachment where we're like, I have to do it exactly this way, or avoidance where we're just like, whatever. With secure attachment, we put structure as it is supportive in our life. So I can't really do the rigid like food prep every week. That feels too much like diet culture for me, but I can be thinking about like, oh, what are a few meals that might be good this week? And then leisurely work toward getting those meals prepared. I also have used like meal delivery in the past and meal delivery services and Instacart, all of those things. Those are all structures that we can put in place that are supportive to help us access food in a way that feels good for us personally and works with our neurodivergence. All right, I hope this was helpful. I'd love to hear your feedback. Feel free to leave a comment or share the post if you think someone would like it. Be sure to subscribe if you want more information about how to heal your relationship with food and body.